When you first learnt to dive, I'll bet you anything that you were given something that looks a bit like this. So you then sort of did your course, you were a little bit wobbly at first in the water, but you got on with it and passed with flying colours, hopefully. But then you cast your eyes over at the more experienced divers over there, and their kit looks very different to yours. It's all made from metal and webbing straps. Well, that can't be comfortable. So why are they, the more experienced divers, diving on that kind of gear? Well, as you progress through your diving, you find that most divers graduate towards wing-style BCDs, and when you take your diving seriously, you stick with the wing style, but you swap out the soft, cozy, padded BCD for a metal backplate and 2-inch webbing harness. So these setups can look harsh and uncompromising to the uninitiated, but they do have some real benefits to your diving, and yes, you can have some padding too if you really like. So let's take a look at the cold and scary looking world of backplates and see how warm and fuzzy they can really be, and why more divers actually should be diving on a backplate.
I haven't passed my rubber ring test yet.
Your arm bent.
Yeah, Paddy won't pass me. It's so annoying.
The first thing about backplates is that they're usually made from metal, which is fairly strong when you compare it to the plastic that most recreational wings are made from. Your standard recreational BCD will have a plastic molded backplate, if any. So that will basically hold a single cylinder on your back, and the bladder and the straps will all be sort of attached somehow to that plastic backplate. In my experience, plastic doesn't like being twisted or bent like, you know, when it's thrown in a pile of BCDs on the rib at the end of a dive. They have a knack of breaking, and not in a good way. A 3mm thick stainless steel plate will take a lot of abuse before it bends or breaks. Because your backplate is the mounting point for your entire scuba kit, it's important that it is strong and holds everything in its correct place. If you're diving singles, then it's not such a problem, but twin cylinders really do need to be bolted to you securely. A plastic backplate will just bend and break if you're not careful, so a metal backplate is a better mounting option no matter what you're diving. With recreational BCDs, they come in small, medium, or large. Backplates only really come in one size. They are becoming more inclusive now, with some sort of shorter sizes becoming available, but typically it's one size fits all. Once you have your backplate, you can then fit whatever type of harness you like and make it so that it fits you perfectly. Anything from a recreational style harness for something soft and adjustable to ease you into backplates, to just a single length of 2-inch webbing, which is the epitome of customizability. You don't get much choice where things are, like D-rings are actually located on a recreational BCD, they're just kind of where they stitch them. But on a backplate setup, you can have full control and mix and match to your specs. I, for example, fit some fancy titanium D-rings to my lightweight backplate, and they are exactly where I want them to be, over my shoulder, so even with my eyes shut, my hands go straight to them for bolt snaps. You can then add extra bits to suit you or your diving. Making your backplate out of steel has a second benefit over it being strong, and that is that steel is pretty heavy. And the main aim for scuba divers, you know, is to sink. So it's all well and good having a feather-light BCD, but you still need heavy weight to actually make you sink. And if you're diving at home, then you might as well just have a heavyweight BCD, and that means that you can actually take some lead off of your weight belt. The further your lead weight is from your body as well, the more rolly you're going to be. So by keeping a thin layer of negative weight flat on your back against your back is a great place to keep your lead. So up and around your shoulder blades as well means that you're going to be in a much more head down position, that kind of horizontal position, which is much better for diving. Because your backplate setup is custom to your size and shape, it will also move with you in the water. Normal BCDs will have a bit of a wiggle on them because they're made to be, you know, generic. So when you actually start thinking about it, you'll start to notice how much your cylinder shifts around during a dive on a recreational wing compared to a backplate, which is just bolted onto your back.
I never thought in my days of doing scuba that the word rolly will be in the video.
There are are thousands of different BCD styles, which is lovely because everyone can be unique and have their own style. But when it comes down to it, I don't really want to be fumbling around trying to work out how to get you out of a BCD if something ever goes wrong. If you're in a single piece webbing harness, then I'm just going to cut you out of it, but at least I know going in what's going to happen, and it's not going to write off the entire BCD neither. You just have to replace the bit of 2-inch webbing. Oh, but you're a traveling diver and you don't want a big heavy steel backplate in your luggage. Sure, then go for an aluminium backplate. You can also find carbon fiber. I've even seen a titanium backplate before. So if you want something strong and lightweight, then there are options. I travel with my alley plate and no padding other than on the shoulder straps, and you don't really notice it even in just a rash vest. So that way your lightweight travel wing will match your heavy duty wing and everything is exactly where you want it to be. With a backplate, you now have one part of any BCD setup you can possibly think of, and you can chop and change it at the drop of a hat. So if you want to go diving a single cylinder, then sure, pop your single wing on the back of it with a couple cam bands and off you go. Twins, yeah sure, swap that single wing for a large twin wing and then bolt your twins onto it and off you go. Side mounting, sure. If you need something you can just upgrade or move things around your backplate. They're pretty much the same setup, just different materials depending on your needs. You'll always have 2-inch slots for your webbing straps, mounting points all around the sides and the bottom for accessories, and holes down the spine about 11 inches apart to bolt on twins. I touched on it earlier, but cutting someone out of their gear, if you damage one part of your recreational BCD, then the entire thing is just written off and you have to go buy yourself a new one. There are very few that you can sort of take one bit off and swap it for another, even on the same brand. So with backplates, you can mix and match brands, not always, but my setup is a bit of a chimera at the moment, a chimera that purrs like a kitten. But basically, yeah, if you break a D-ring on a backplate setup, cool, just fit a new one. If you bend your backplate, then bend it back or swap it out for a new one. Puncture your bladder, then take it out and fix it. You don't write off your entire BCD if you damage a very small part of your backplate setup. One of the main reasons backplate setups are preferred by top-tier divers is that they've been tried and tested throughout the years and has come out on top. So backplate setups have the fewest failure points that could possibly go wrong during a dive. Plastic clips break over time or if they are crushed. So recreational BCDs have countless attachment points holding all of their different parts together, and if any one of those breaks during a dive, it's either going to make your dive really awkward trying to stay together, or it goes unnoticed, putting strain on the next part, and that could be more serious. It's tough to break a 2-inch webbing belt, which is pretty much a solo harness, and the steel backplate isn't going to break anytime soon, even if you jump up and down on it. So no matter where I dive, you'll probably see me on a backplate. The pros just outweigh the cons. The cons of which is that you have to assemble your own gear, they're not too squishy, and as my first BCD, they're a bit more expensive, let's be honest. But what do you dive on? Have you ever been sort of converted to the heavy metal side of diving, or are you a soft and squishy diver? Discuss below, people. So don't forget the social things that can keep this channel growing. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.